To find the cause of the problem, the outside operator inspects the recirculation line control valve for obvious signs of damage or problem. When he inspects the valve, he can find no signs of obvious damage to the valve or the valve operator. Also, the local valve position indicator shows that the valve is shut, so the outside operator believes that the valve must be leaking by its seat. To correct the problem, the outside operator isolates the valve and reports the valve to the maintenance department for repair. After several minutes, the control room operator sees that the levels in the two tanks have returned to normal. After the repairs are completed, to verify that the control valve is operating correctly, the control room operator cycles the control valve open and closed. The outside operator watches the valve's operation. It appears to be operating properly. To verify that the transfer system is operating properly, the control room operator monitors the level indications for the two tanks. At this point, the problem has been corrected, and the process has been returned to normal operation. In this troubleshooting exercise, you will make decisions that will take operators through the basic steps of troubleshooting a problem. To complete the exercise, you must identify the problem and its cause, and then correct the problem. The system used in this exercise was created to train operators in process control and in different types of control loops. While the process uses real equipment to create inputs to the control system, actual products are not produced. This allows operators to practice troubleshooting a variety of problems without affecting the operation of an actual process. In this system, liquid feed material is transferred from a feed tank into a distillation column. In the column, the feed material is partially vaporized to separate it into two components, the vapor and the remaining liquid, which are recovered separately. The system consists of a feed tank and its pump, a filter, a heater, a collecting tank and its pump, a distillation column, and control valves that regulate flow to the column and maintain the correct levels in the tanks. Feed material is supplied to the feed tank from another process. The feed material is pumped from the feed tank, through the filter, and the heater into the collecting tank. From the collecting tank, the feed material is pumped into the distillation column. After separation occurs inside the column, the remaining liquid or bottoms product is pumped from the column and sent to another process for further processing. The vapor, or overhead product, is also removed from the column and sent on for further processing. The control system for this process monitors and controls several process variables, and it positions control valves to ensure that the levels in the feed tank and the collecting tank are properly maintained. The control system also maintains the proper pressure on the outlet of each pump to ensure that the system is not overpressurized. And it maintains the speed of the pump that removes liquid from the bottom of the column. Up to now, the process has been operating properly. All of the indications are within their normal ranges, and the column has been properly separating the feed material into two separate products. Now, however, when the control room operator checks his indicators, he notices that the difference between the bottom temperature and the top temperature in the column is smaller than before. After checking the rest of his indicators, the operator again checks the temperature difference in the column. This time, he sees that the difference between the bottom temperature and the top temperature has decreased again. The operator and the supervisor discuss how to troubleshoot the problem. They decide that it will be easier to troubleshoot the problem with the process operating, so they leave the process operating. After the operator increases flow through the column, the operator then discusses the problem with his supervisor. The supervisor tells the operator to restore the flow through the column to its normal value, which the operator checks the other indicators on the control panel to see if there are any other symptoms of the problem. He also calls the outside operator and asks him to check the local indicators. The outside operator reports back and informs the control room operator that he can find no other symptoms of the problem. The operator again calls his supervisor to inform him of the status of the troubleshooting and to report that there are no other indications of a problem. The supervisor and the operator agree that there is no danger to personnel, But there is a possibility that the products leaving the column could be off-spec, and this could affect other. The control room operator has the feed material sampled and tested. The results of the testing indicate that nothing has changed in the composition of the feed material. This rules out the feed material as a source of the problem. The control room operator has the bottoms product sampled and tested. The results of the testing indicate that the bottoms product is still within its normal specs. When the control room operator has both final products sampled and tested, the results of the tests indicate that both final products are within the specs for the process. The control room operator calls the operators for the processes that receive his final products and informs them of the problem. The control room operator decides to have both final products sampled and tested more frequently than usual. This will alert him more quickly if there is any change in the products leaving the process. At this point, the operator has identified a problem and taken preventive action. Now he turns his attention to determining the cause of the problem. Basically, what caused the difference between the top temperature and bottom temperature to decrease? The control room operator decides to use a series of input-output tests to check the operation of the column. The operator has already tested the composition of the materials leaving the column. The control room operator can compare those results to test results on the composition of the feed material. The composition of the feed material dictates what the final product should be. After comparing the compositions, the control room operator decides that the column is properly separating the feed material into the desired final products. The operator's next step is to check the flow rates entering and leaving.